Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope, she bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
No one goes to Hank's for his spreadsheets. They go for a darn good pizza. Lately, though, the shop's been quiet, so Hank decides to bring back the $1 slice. He asks Copilot in Microsoft Excel to look at his sales and costs and help him see if he can afford it. Copilot shows Hank where the money's going and which little extras make the dollar slice work. Now Hank has a line out the door. Hank makes the pizza, Copilot handles the spreadsheets. Learn more at m365copilot.com/work.
Amazon presents Jeff versus Taco Truck Salsa. Whether it's Verde, Roja, or the orange one. For Jeff, trying any salsa is like playing Russian roulette with a flamethrower. Luckily, Jeff saved with Amazon and stocked up on antacids, ginger tea, and milk. Habanero? More like habanero, yes. Save the everyday with Amazon.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
AI is moving fast across the enterprise. But without visibility, it's just chaos. Different tools, different models, different teams using AI in completely different ways. ServiceNow turns that chaos into control. With the AI Control Tower, you see all your AI across the business in one place. What it's doing, what it's done, and what it's about to do. So you stay in control. To put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com.
The comments made by Minal Hassan are made by him and him himself and nobody else, and not indicative of Basketball Illuminati, Tom Haberstroh, Anthony Mays, or any guest incorporated.
Hey guys, I won a Pulitzer.
Oh!
Whoa.
Wow.
This is breaking news. That happened.
Did they finally give it to you for the footage of American Ninja Warrior where you stole the show and became an internet meme? Was that what it was for?
No, not for that one.
Oh, for the decontextualization of your jump shot, yeah?
That went viral, yes, but sadly, no, I did not get recognized for that.
That wasn't it?
Nope.
Oh, it must have been for your extensive research on the court during the 2022 NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Again, I was doing that research earlier in the day. I hadn't closed the tab. I hadn't even opened my laptop until I got to the arena, and then post-game opened the laptop, and boom, first on the laptop was that. So,
I mean, he was pulling something. It might not have been a Pulitzer, but he was pulling something for sure while he was researching that story. We know that.
Oh, was it the Doc Rivers decision tree?
You know what? I wish, but no, they didn't get that one either.
Oh, but it was for your impression of Kash Patel.
No, that one, maybe next year. That wasn't eligible for this year, but no, it wasn't that. You know, it's funny. I had so many. I was trying to think what were my big moments of complete unseriousness.
I mean, I thought those were all of them.
Yeah.
I thought all of those were Pulitzer worthy.
It's really staggering. You know, I picked up the phone, I called my dad, and I told him, and his first question was, why?
Yeah.
I said, me too, man.
I mean, to be fair, you did some great work on the chicken free throws in Giannis and the chicken promos.
Yeah.
The impact on free throw rate. I feel like that was the stepping stone to getting a Pulitzer, maybe?
I stayed at a haunted hotel in Oklahoma City.
We did the Riverwalk. Remember when we went to the Riverwalk in San Antonio?
Yeah.
And did man on the street kind of interviews?
Oh, I think I got it. You won the Pulitzer.
I did.
For progressively taking off articles of clothing because you were overheating.
I tried to spray myself with water to make it look like I was perspiring.
You must have known in the back of your mind, the Pulitzer Committee is going to recognize this performance as worthy of the most esteemed journalistic award known to man.
The wildest part about all of this is that there are people who devote their entire careers to winning one of these. And I didn't even know we were nominated until they told us we won. Yeah. It's no different than if someone walked in right now and said, congrats, you just won a Grammy. For what? What did I do? It's surreal. I wish I had some funny thing to say about it. I really don't, man. There's only been in the history of the Pulitzer, a handful of sports stories have won. Obviously, we won for audio recording, which is a newer category. But if you look at the other nominees, one was about stand your ground laws after a fatal shooting was not prosecuted. The other one was about transgender youth and the medicine administered and policy around. These are real topics that I think impact everybody in the country. Every American has an opinion one way or another about these topics. And we got it from making fun of Kawhi Leonard's Apple Time fake story. It's insane that this thing happened. And it happened to me, of all people.
For the press release here, it says it is awarded to the staff of Pablo Torre Finds Out for a pioneering and entertaining form of live podcast journalism that investigated how the Los Angeles Clippers seemingly evaded the NBA's salary cap by funneling money to a star player through an environmental startup.
When people ask, what did you do? The word entertaining in there, that's me. Everything else there, you could say, didn't do any of that. I did that part, though.
How do you feel?
Well, first of all, I'm not Joe Mazzulla, so I don't feel empty inside. That's for sure.
This isn't like losing all the other awards.
Yeah, exactly.
In the rest of your life.
Including the ones that were in the bag and I should have won for sure, for certain. And I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something a little different today and start 3 guys. We're combined, have like 2 starts among them in their NBA careers. No, it's a cycle of emotions. There's shock. I can't believe this happened. There's a weird, evil pride. Yeah, like, fuck you. Fuck all you people. All you losers. Right? And then emotion.
So you have like a lot of Michael Jordan at your acceptance speech, Hall of Fame speech, a message to all the haters.
That's one of there's a Michael Jordan 2009 Hall of Fame induction speech in me for sure. But then there's an Allen Iverson that's like, why am I here? Allen Iverson is like, oh, I can't believe I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? But yeah, it's like that. And real emotion tied into that. I caught myself a couple times getting a little teary-eyed, having feelings like a 14-year-old. You guys ever have that? Feelings?
This is the first time I've heard that you have those. So
yeah,
this is what it takes.
It's like a 14-year-old.
I was wondering how many of the series contributed to the award, and it is 4 episodes, all from September. So Silent Superstar and the Rotten Apple Tree, The Mystery Investor, The No-Show Payday, and The Smoking Gun, Steve Ballmer, The Other Cuban, and the $118 million infusion, and Steve Ballmer's inconceivable donation, the $20 million guarantee, and a head on a spike. So that means that, the other 6 still eligible for next time.
Maybe. That's a good point. Has anyone ever won the Pulitzer twice?
For the same story?
For any story. Just to win twice is, I would think, unprecedented.
Go back to back?
But again, given what we were up against, I could not imagine ever winning a Pulitzer again. So I'm going to have to just enjoy this one.
No.
This old dumb Pulitzer.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait, there's a Pulitzer Award. You can have a plaque or a medal. I don't know where that's going to go, in your house or, in your father's office.
Pablo's keeping them all.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
But it says the award is also $15,000.
Yeah.
I did not know there was a monetary prize.
I didn't know that either. My dad asked me. That was the second question he asked me. He said, is there a cash prize? And I said, I don't know. I think they're just going to take us to dinner.
What's interesting is on Tuesday, there was a 10th part of this series that was dropped on Pablo Torre Finds Out. And yet we still don't have any sort of resolution or investigative findings from the league, any rulings.
Wait, what?
And it's early May. And do you think this Pulitzer that you have won along with the staff of Pablo Torre Finds Out changes anything with regard to the ruling of this aspiration scandal?
In terms of the timing of the ruling or what is actually going to come now?
All of it. Do you think this has any impact?
I think yes. So before this last episode that dropped, so the penultimate episode on this, we talked about how people who have been interrogated or questioned as part of this investigation by Wachtell Lipton, none of them were ever asked, or even the name never came up. The name was Steve Ballmer. They might have been trying to do a big show of this and we'll slap some wrists over here, but Steve Ballmer will go out unscathed by this. And I think that episode, certainly if they were under any impressions that they could coast through this, that would have changed their mind. Winning the prize, Pablo said this actually, it dismisses the Clippers' dismissal. Because the Clippers have characterized this investigation as tabloid journalism.
Gossip.
Oh, you guys are just doing it for clicks, gossip. No, this isn't Gil's Arena. No disrespect to them, but the idea of a bunch of guys just saying their opinions about stuff, which I think a lot of people, when they hear podcasts, they think it's just sitting around telling your opinions. And no, this is journalism. You know how I know it's journalism? Because we won the fucking Pulitzer Prize. That's how.
My assignment: uncover why the association inspires more conspiracy theories in volume and salience than any other U.S. sport.
You've heard of the Illuminati.
The truth is out there, but so are lies.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
The NBA has always been controlled by about 8 people.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses.
If you're only using 10% of your brain, you don't even know that you're using 10% of your brain.
The NBA Illuminati.
If coincidences are just coincidences, why do they feel so contrived?
The Illuminati.
But you start to follow the money, and you don't know where the f*** it's going to take you.
It is unspoken. They have influence among other players.
The NBA Illuminati.
I don't have time for your convenient ignorance.
Maybe I'm a conspiracist now as well.
That's all it took. Oh, we got books, we got schools. You saw a video on YouTube.
My eyes, sir. You've never used them before.
We are the Basketball Illuminati.
This is Basketball Illuminati. I am Tom Haberstroh, and as always, I am joined by the 5-star Illuminarmy General and Pulitzer Prize winning,
thank you,
Amin Al-Hassan, and also producer Anthony Mace.
That sounds so much worse for me now.
I know. Come on.
And Mace.
How do we workshop this, guys?
Just Mace.
And producer Anthony Mace.
You could put me last now.
Okay, hold on. This is Basketball Illuminati. I am Tom Haberstroh, and as always, I am joined by the 5-star Illuminarmy Generals, Anthony Mays, and Pulitzer Prize winning Amin Al-Hassan.
There you go.
How's that?
Amin's getting the with credit. You know, when they...
Yeah.
If you're not in the top 2 build, then you wait until last, then you go with Pulitzer Prize winning Amin Al-Hassan.
Or and Amin Al-Hassan.
I think it's with and then and.
Yes, but and is higher.
And is still seniority.
You want to be the and.
Mm-hmm.
If it's between the with and the and, you want to be the and.
Well, despite all of my reports on Kawhi Leonard's strobe light glasses, and I was on the cover of ESPN the magazine about Kawhi Leonard, and did this investigative journalism about Michael Jordan's blocks and steals and his Defensive Player of the Year vote, and all the other reports that I've done, I am not on the level of Pulitzer Prize winning Amin Al-Hassan. So congratulations, man. That is awesome.
I say this in all sincerity, few people are. I can walk into every single NBA press conference, the finals, whatever. And that's all nice for all you guys, but you ain't done one of these. So don't feel bad, Tom.
Amazing. Later in the program, we're going to talk to Spike Eskin. I wonder what he thinks about your title now and whether he's going to address you. If he brings you on to the program there in Philadelphia, how he will introduce you the next time he has you on. We're going to talk about Joel Embiid and the Knicks series and all the talk about the Sixers after they avenged all of the demons against the Boston Celtics in the first round. We'll talk to Spike later in the program. But first...
Listening to The Agenda with Amin Al-Hassan and Tom Haberstroh.
Maze, I'm like Amin here. I listen to the show, but sometimes I skip through the intro and get to the good stuff. I am not suggesting that the audience should do that. Absolutely not. Listen to every second of this show.
Where are you going with this?
However, Maze, do you actually update our intro song, the clips? Like when Jaylen Brown says it's clearly an agenda, do you have to adjust all of the sounds going into these segments?
I don't change the intro, but if I get a good soundbite, it joins the rotation.
Do you believe in magic?
And it will become a recurring sound in that episode, like Anthony Edwards.
I don't give a damn. I'm trying to beat that shit.
Or it might even make it to a different episode, like this X-Files one.
I want to believe.
We can ask the Pulitzer Prize winner here what he thinks about the journalistic updates that we need to make to our show.
I approve.
Thorough vetting process, as always.
Pulitzer Prize winning.
I don't know if Jaylen Brown's going to win a Pulitzer for his Twitch that he did, but man, he had a lot to say.
You know how many players do that? That is such that's the common play, a basketball player. Every player does it. So why are you targeting me? They clearly had an agenda. Like maybe because I spoke in those critical of the refs in the regular season. So you know how they responded. Like we gonna call every. You're gonna lead the playoffs in offensive fouls.
And he had a bunch of guys with him. And maybe I'm part of the problem. It was the clip culture, right? I didn't sit and watch the whole stream, but I just saw the clip, and it's him and three dudes that all looked like
a new star in the making is what it looked like.
Yeah.
My man in the left corner, that guy.
Stingray from Cobra Kai.
He's got a deep subterranean life going on offline, whatever's up with this guy.
Is it Entourage based off of Mark Wahlberg's Entourage? So it is a Boston Entourage?
That's right.
This would be a fun remake if we could do that based on those guys.
Yeah.
I want to know more about these guys.
Except they're all turtle, right?
Yeah, they're all turtle. Yeah.
It was a bizarre rant. What part do we want to focus on? Him complaining about the officials or him saying that this is his favorite season?
Well, I think we'll start with the officials because that's the part that he's referencing with the agenda, which
right
on this program, we will take down the agenda. We will reveal the agenda of the mainstream media.
Absolutely.
And the mainstream media was met with a story a few months ago where he called out the officials.
I'll take the fucking fine. Curtis, all them dudes was terrible tonight. I don't care. They can find me whatever they want.
They're officiating me differently. I had 0 free throws in this game. It was a Spurs game back on January 10th. The Celtics lost. An outlier game, 4 total free throws in the entire game. And what he said in this Twitch a couple days ago.
And I've actually spoke to some refs, and they said it was agenda going into each game. So anytime Jaylen brings his arm up, just from reputation, just call it.
We'll make you pay for it in the playoffs. What you said back January 10th.
Oh, my God.
We'll make you pay come playoff time. Watch how we're going to officiate you is what Jaylen Brown is alleging is that there was a hit essentially put on him in the playoffs.
I love all of this, right? I love, first of all, that a ref would threaten him with retaliation and that he would decide to keep that information to himself as opposed to, I don't know, telling the league. That's one. And then 2, this is my favorite part. I love the NBA-driven conspiracy to keep the Boston Celtics from advancing in the playoffs.
It's a conspiracy.
What? It harkens back to David Stern being asked, is the Lakers-Celtics the dream matchup in the finals? And Stern responding, no, Lakers versus Lakers is the dream matchup. But I imagine number 2 on that list would be Celtics versus Celtics.
What a story. Jason Tatum coming back from the Achilles tear and leading the Boston Celtics along with Jaylen Brown back to the NBA Finals. Yes, that story is way more box office hit.
You wouldn't rather watch Oklahoma City take on Detroit in the finals? You don't think that's what the league is rooting for? That's the funniest thing to me, this idea that Oklahoma City benefits. Do you think there's a conspiracy to make Oklahoma the center of the NBA universe? Come on, guys.
Hello, listener. Producer Mays here to talk to you about Quinn's Cookware. I know cooking can feel like a lot of work these days, especially when the temptation to order takeout is stronger than ever. But trust me when I say that quality cookware makes a big difference in your experience cooking at home. I just got myself a set of 3 Staub rectangular baking dishes. Yes, that's Staub because it's French, and French means quality. It's made of Portuguese durable stoneware. It's oven safe up to 570 degrees Fahrenheit. You can even throw it in the freezer if you want. And the best part is, I know I got them at the best possible price. Because everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. You heard me right. High quality materials for half the price. How could such a thing be possible? Well, Quince works directly with manufacturers, cutting out the middlemen and passing the savings on to you. Now, Quince even carries fine wine, from Napa Valley vineyards to Dom Perignon Champagne, enough to fill the Nile. Ho ho! So what are you waiting for? Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. Go to QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Chime. You know what shouldn't cost money? Managing your money. These old school banks with their monthly fees and their overdraft fees and minimum balance fees and fees on your fees, and they fee you when you're feeing. Not Chime. Chime is changing the way people bank. It's fee-free. That's free of fees, not fees of fees. It's built for you, not like those traditional old banks. Now check out some of these benefits. You get 5% cash back on Chime Card in a category of your choice, like gas or groceries, whatever you're using the most. You get savings that grow faster with a 3.75% APY. That's 9 times higher than the national average. You get premium travel perks, airport lounge access, 24/7 travel concierge. You can even get $500 of your pay with MyPay. They also have Spot Me, which lets you overdraft up to $200 fee-free, all of which make it so much easier to manage your money. Chime is not just smarter banking, it's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today. Head to chime.com/basketball. That's chime.com/basketball. It only takes a few minutes to sign up.
Chime is a fintech, not a bank. Banking services from MyPay and Chime Card provided by Chime's bank partners. Optional products and services may have fees or charges. Stated annual percentage yield and cashback for Chime Prime only. No minimum balance required. Checking account ranking based on a JD Power survey published October 20, 2025. For more information on APY rates, MyPay, Spot Me, and travel perks, go to chime.com/disclosures.
Listener, you've got places to be. Let's say your hair's thinning up top. You have time to go to Turkey and sit in a waiting room for some hair loss treatment? Of course not. Hims makes expert care accessible on your schedule so you can skip the line and focus on feeling like yourself again. Hims offers convenient access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that actually work. There's an idea, including chews, oral medications, serums, and sprays, whichever you think is best. Doctor-trusted ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil, did I say those right? I don't know, but they sound official. Can stop further hair loss and regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. It's like almost no time at all. No hidden fees, no surprise costs, just real personalized care on your schedule. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Hims brings expert care straight to you with 100% online access to personalized treatment plans that put your goals first. For simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/basketball. That's hims.com/basketball for your free online visit. hims.com/basketball.
That wasn't all he had to say. He also said some referees that if I had to choose, if I had to say there's some referees that need to be investigated, we had 3 of them in the last 3 games, Maze.
3 refs, 3 eyes.
There are no mistakes, no coincidences.
Game 5, guys, James Williams, Kevin Scott, Brian Forte. Game 6, Mark Davis, Nick Buckert, Ray Acosta. Game 7, James Capers, Jimmy Capers, Tyler Ford and Gediminas Petraeus were the 9 referees in the final 3 games of that series that he's referencing.
Those are pretty good refs, man.
James Williams, Mark Davis, James Capers, all finals referees. Yeah.
James Williams, you might know him better affectionately as Gucci Man. That's the Gucci Man looking ref. He's done interviews about that, about how he resembles Gucci Man.
I thought you were going to say you might know James Williams from Devin Booker's comments in this playoffs.
Oh, that's right.
I heard Caruso tell him to call the tech, and, he ended up doing it. So that's one ref. In my 11 years, I haven't called a ref out by name, but James was terrible tonight, through and through. It's bad for the sport, bad for the integrity of the sport. People are going to start viewing this as a WWE, if they're not held responsible.
Against Oklahoma City, there were a couple of questionable whistles in that series. But again, what are you saying, Guy? I don't understand what his point is. His point is there's a vendetta against him specifically.
Because he called out the officials from the January 10th game.
Yeah, because that never has happened before. Most players, they just keep their mouth shut. But he was the brave one who took a stand and said, the officiating has not been good. And the refs were like, how dare you? How dare you, like a blade of grass standing up against a mighty wind? How dare you stand up and try to thwart us? We'll show you. None of mine, everyone else who got fined $35,000 a million times all season long for criticizing the officiating. No, you, Jaylen Brown, you are the outlier. And for that, we will make an example out of you. Also, we hope you're up 3-1 in the series and find a way to blow it for this to be the case.
I mean, it feels like the one who had the agenda is Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, no shit.
What?
It clearly had an agenda.
I mean, think about, he's calling out the referees.
Besides bringing in really cool guys to stream live with him? That's the only agenda I see.
Guys, everyone, put on your sunglasses.
Put on your sunglasses and nod.
I wanted to know, are they Oakleys?
Well, it just so happens that Jaylen Brown has his own signature Oakleys.
Wow.
That's right. Those matching sunglasses that he's got his entire entourage wearing are the Highland Jaylen Brown signature series.
You still got them Oakleys?
Our third eye is shaded and wide open now.
It was all promo.
Wide open on this whole thing. This is all just a ploy to sell Oakleys?
Yes.
Quite literally Oakleys?
Literal Oakleys.
Who's moving more Oakleys in their career? Jaylen Brown or Zach Harper?
Are we sure that Zach Harper wasn't off camera?
Are we sure Zach wasn't one of the guys?
Yeah. Because also, I was distracted by the guy in the left corner, but there's a guy in the other corner wearing an Oakley hat.
Oh, is he wearing a hat?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is a full-on branded promo here.
He led the Celtics 25 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 41% from downtown. And it was an all-NBA season, some believe MVP candidate worthy season for Jaylen Brown, but they lost in the first round.
And blew a 3-1 lead.
With home court advantage. So clearly this was one of the worst seasons of his career.
Au contraire.
I'm sorry, what?
Au contraire, mon frère. This is his favorite season ever.
And this group was a special group. I'm so proud of this group and the way we played. I wish we trusted that style of play a little bit more, but I know playoffs kind of shifted our rotations and what we wanted to do. But I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career. One, streaming with you guys, chat, was awesome. Like being able to talk to y'all was like therapy every single day. You know what I mean? I mean, not every day, like once a week or whatever, what I was doing. Just to be able to get on here and give y'all the perspective and kind of, because, these narratives be going left and right, just to hear it from the horse's mouth. But then also being able to just be a part of a group that just, through the uncertainty, came to fight and came to compete and came and went to war. I'll take a team like that any day of the week.
I wonder what was different about this season than other seasons. For Jaylen Brown.
This is one of those things, you don't even need a second eye. Forget about a third eye. Even one eye open, you're like, ooh. You know what's crazy? He won a championship, and he was finals MVP of that championship.
And Eastern Conference Finals MVP on top of that.
Yo, you won a title, and in the year you won a title, they gave you most of the credit, right? They give you more credit than anyone else.
This is what a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist
These are the questions.
and podcaster and gossip king, Pablo Torre, is called big playoff. I mean, just because you win a championship, that's not the most important thing in these players' careers. You might think it is, but that's what big playoff wants you to believe. What if Jaylen Brown is the truth teller here?
Oh, so that what's important really is the regular season, and to do it consistently over 82 games and
prove you're a number one guy
night in, night out. Not just I had a good series or even a good couple of series. I had a great season. Oh, you know what? Maybe you swayed me. You swayed me into this EPL kind of mentality of, hey, it's the season that counts, not this little tournament.
But of course, everyone in Boston Sports Radio is going to grab onto these remarks, and suggest maybe there are changes afoot. As Kevin O'Connor on the Yahoo Sports show suggested, maybe the Celtics go trade for Giannis. Maybe a 3-team trade, Jaylen Brown going back home to Atlanta, Giannis going to Boston, and then a bunch of young players and picks go to Milwaukee. That maybe this is just kickstarting that conversation.
So Mark Stein reported this. He said they're going to be aggressive in their Giannis pursuit. And I think if you look at all the different teams, they probably have the most capital to play with in terms of an offer. Of all the players that are going to be exchanging hands here, right? They have the best player, the best chip. There's not a single player who's going to get traded for Giannis who's as good as Jaylen Brown. What's their pick inventory look like?
Well, they would use some of the Atlanta picks in that offer.
Oh, they got you. Yeah. So I think ultimately Giannis has to want to go there. That's the part that we got to say out loud. Just because they have a good offer doesn't necessarily mean he's going to cooperate. And if you're Boston, you don't want to break up this thing and trade for a guy who does not want to be there, even if he has to stay for a year or two or whatever. At the end of the day, Jaylen Brown is a lot younger. Also, I'm curious how crazy Joe Mazzulla would adjust his approach when his best player isn't a three-point shooter.
I think he'd feel the same. He'd feel the same whether his best player was a three-point shooter or not. Doesn't matter to Joe.
Yeah.
Unfazed.
Can we talk about that the Pistons already extended JB Bickerstaff after they won a 7-game series against the Orlando Magic?
Well, yeah.
So Joe Mazzulla, wait, this is incredible that I don't know this yet. Have they announced Coach of the Year yet?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
The kiss of death, right? You don't want to win Coach of the Year.
But, Tom, that was the deal with the Magic Pistons series. Winner extended. Loser fired.
Oh, loser.
It's like Survivor coaching. Yeah.
Jamal Mosley. Bye-bye. Literally win or go home.
Yeah.
Win or pack up your shit and go home. Because remember that Magic deja vu we were experiencing last week?
Uh-huh.
Well, it continued.
Yep.
Because the Magic blew a 3-1 lead, just like they did in 2003.
Just like I did.
And then we were treated to this diamond package announcement by Shams.
Diamond.
Listeners will remember that in order to get preferential treatment from Shams in a press release on Twitter, you got to subscribe to that diamond package, baby. You got to be giving him some kind of information so you can get a write-up like this that says Mosley led the Magic to 2 division titles and 3 consecutive winning seasons while dealing with a litany of injuries to key starters, particularly over the last 2 years.
But in the diamond package, they still say he got fired, right?
No, he got dismissed.
Oh, that sounds nicer, right?
Little gentler.
Fired. Oh, such an ugly word. Yeah, dismissed. You can go home now.
It's like an honorable discharge.
Absolutely.
Your service has come to an end. Congratulations, Jamal.
That diamond package, ladies and gentlemen. You got to invest in it.
And also, I love that they managed to work in Orlando's run to the NBA Cup Final Four, which I didn't know was a thing we talked about.
Dude, if you go to Vegas, you're in the Final Four. That's how that works.
Is that a prestige? Do they give you a banner?
Of course it's prestigious.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for all of 3 years.
If you were blinded by the big playoff, you would think it's only championship rings that we should recognize. But in fact, there's also this NBA Cup that is being this weird benchmark, this landmark in the timeline of Jeff Weltman's extension, that in this Jamal Mosley story, they're noting that, hey, the guy who's responsible for trading for Desmond Bane and the 4+ picks for Desmond Bane, and their offense didn't get much better and they didn't get much further in the playoffs, he's going to stay on because little did we know signed to a contract extension just before Orlando's run to the NBA Cup Final Four.
Yeah.
I just love this idea that we can't just say Jeff Weltman was signed to an extension mid-season.
No.
They had to throw in that the run to the Final Four of the NBA Cup was when he got this extension, around the same time.
Yeah, man.
Same Jeff Weltman who will not be dismantling this roster that he put together.
So this is the part where Billy Donovan comes in on his horse, right? To save the day?
On his gator.
But he's not going to get off his horse just yet.
I think it's a gator that he's riding.
He's going to ride in on his horse. Whether he hitches his horse up to the post and walks into the saloon is a different story entirely.
That'd be hilarious if that happened. It'd be hilarious if it happened in a vacuum, but it's hilarious if it happened after we speculated it could happen. That's the part, man. Can't tell you how many Pulitzers you need to win to have that kind of joy right there. One.
Oh.
One's the answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Just one? That's it?
Yeah.
You've already reached the pinnacle.
Well, Jeff Weltman's not going to make any drastic roster changes, but do you think Masai Ujiri is going to in Dallas now that he's the new team president and alternate governor?
They slipped that one in. I was like, what? That means, boys and girls at home, he's getting a cut of the action. Some people get paid in salary, and some people get paid with a cut of the action. And Masai Ujiri, he's getting a cut of the action.
Can you explain what do you mean by that?
Well, the Board of Governors is the 30 NBA principal owners that meet and vote on different things. And basically, these are the people who run the league from the franchise perspective. Every team also has an alternate governor, meaning if the governor can't make it for whatever reason, we can send this guy and he's eligible. So to lean against my Pulitzer Prize winning background, the Los Angeles Clippers, the governor is Steve Ballmer, but sometimes Steve Ballmer can't make it. So the alternate governor for the Clippers is Dennis Wong, who is the only minority owner of the Clippers. The Clippers are owned by two people, Steve Ballmer, Dennis Wong, that's it. So in this case, for Masai Ujiri to be named as the alternate governor would insinuate that he is also receiving an ownership stake in the Dallas Mavericks. This after, of course, he's the investor and a part owner in the Toronto WNBA franchise, which the name escapes me now.
Tempo.
I knew it was something with a T. Samsonite. I knew it started with an S. He's getting a cut of that action too. So Masai Ujiri, not bad. The leveling up of Masai Ujiri throughout his career has been spectacular, to say the least.
Yeah, and he gets Cooper Flagg, and then the veterans on the team, Kyrie Irving, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and whatever the pick is right now. And he gets in at a time where I think there's going to be a lot of chaos in terms of draft picks and the value of draft picks because the NBA draft lottery reform proposal is about to flatten a lot of the odds and make things really interesting. But this year, the Dallas Mavericks have the 8th best odds. We'll find out this weekend. They have the 8th best odds of winning the number 1 overall pick again in back-to-back seasons, perhaps, which is a rule that has been proposed that the NBA in this new draft lottery reform will not allow teams to have consecutive winning the NBA draft lottery and or top 5 picks in 3 consecutive seasons. And so he's taking over at a really nice time for them to be able to get this number 1 overall pick possibility before that becomes a barred outcome.
We should mention that this is the last time they control the rights to their own pick for until like 2030 or something like that, maybe 2031. Regardless of how good or bad you are, you're not going to have control of your pick moving forward. And by the way, if you're keeping track at home, it's a 6.7% chance of winning the number 1 overall pick, but there's a 29% chance of being in the top 4. And because of this particular draft class, I'll take anything in the top 4. I don't even know if I would prefer one, to be honest with you, because one obviously comes with a higher salary because of the rookie scale. So that takes away from your flexibility. The number 1 pick is usually paid very handsomely, closer to what I would call a real NBA salary. And then also you get to avoid, oh, you're the dumbass that took so-and-so. There's some guesswork that's off the table there. If I'm a Mavericks fan, I'm feeling really, really good. This is the best possible bounce back from where you were 12 months ago. 12 months ago when your boy said, now you see the vision. Until he won the lottery. You upgrade from that to Masai Ujiri.
This is one of those things that I had a problem with the proposal, the draft reform proposal. But if you thought that people thought the NBA lottery was rigged now, just wait until this new draft lottery reform gets put in.
Oh, yeah.
Because once you flatten the odds in the draft lottery and bring in playoff teams potentially, you're going to get some crazy outcomes that are going to infuriate fan bases.
I can't believe that they're so short-sighted. They always claim they do everything very data-driven, that there's a lot of research behind everything they do and nothing is on a whim. And I'm like, there's no chance that this is the proposal you're going with and you did any sort of rigorous pushback on it.
Right. Like, let's say the Orlando Magic this year could win the number 1 overall pick if the draft lottery reform was put in.
Yeah.
Rick Welts, who's the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks now, who used to work long time in the NBA league office and also with the Supersonics and the Golden State Warriors and with the Phoenix Suns.
Thank you.
He's worked with a Pulitzer Prize winner.
He sure has. How many people get to say that now? Yeah, I work with a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Very few.
What was he like? Real down to earth.
And so when a guy comes from the league office and then suddenly they win the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, people are going to say, whoa, that's crazy that happened. Well, now because of the flattening of the NBA odds and that the draft relegation zone is happening, I just feel like you're going to invite a lot more of that speculation and a lot more discussion around the NBA league office and the powers of the commissioner. I will point out in 2027, the Dallas Mavericks do not control the full rights of their draft pick. It is top 2 protected, meaning that if the Dallas Mavericks in 2027 in the new draft reform era ends up with the first or the second pick, they keep it.
Hello.
And then otherwise it goes to the Charlotte Hornets. What is that, the PJ Washington deal?
Amin has pointed out the financial incentives for Masai to be an alternate governor. I think the other interesting part of this is that this means that Dumont doesn't have to go to any meetings.
Yeah, that's right.
Masai could go to all the meetings. Masai can vote at the board of governors. It seems like a step back for our friend, Mr. Dumont. And in some ways, we knew that he wanted to give the keys over to Nico. And he said,
whoops,
Nico, you're very persuasive and charming. And he got burned almost immediately. But now he's gone to someone with an even higher pedigree, someone who's very respected. This guy will never screw him over. So why don't you make all the decisions?
I like the idea of him being like Chris Farley and Tommy Boy, right? You got sitting on all these meetings. He's like, I'm bored. Why do I have to do this? I just want to play with my toy cars and stuff like that. And then here comes Masai, and he's basically David Spade. And he's like, I can run this thing for real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first time that Masai Ujiri has ever been compared to David Spade?
Absolutely.
I would love to find that out. But if you're a Pulitzer Prize winner,
these are the insights.
No one can question your analogies.
Well, you could, but then I'd say, do you have a Pulitzer? And then you'd say no. And then I'm like, well, then.
The Chicago Bulls did not hire Matt Lloyd over in the Tim Connolly organization there with the Denver Nuggets, leaves Masai Ujiri's former place with Denver. And then
I like this web of kind of, we'll call it incest, but it's very close, right? Masai Ujiri, who was a Denver Nuggets GM and then went on to be the president of basketball operations for the Raptors, gets a Dallas job. Meanwhile, the Chicago job was going to go to Matt Lloyd, who once upon a time worked for the Bulls, by the way, in their front office, but also has been working in Minnesota as the GM under President of Basketball Operations, Tim Connolly, who of course came from Denver, where he was working under Masai. But do you know where else Matt Lloyd worked beyond those stops?
No.
Orlando.
Do you believe in magic?
Or the aforementioned Jeff Weltman.
Wait, I think you skipped a step there too. We talk about Tim Connolly,
right?
But the Chicago Bulls hired Bryson Graham to run their basketball ops. He came from New Orleans, which is also where Tim Connolly came from once upon a time before he joined the Denver Nuggets. I don't think Bryson Graham worked for Tim Connolly.
When was he in New Orleans?
2010 to 2013.
He almost certainly worked for Tim Connolly.
So this is all, hey, did you work for Tim Connolly at one point?
Yeah.
It was Connolly, now in charge of the Timberwolves, who gave Graham the one piece of advice that still sticks with him to this day. Quote, never have a bad day.
That's Tim.
I've tried to keep that with me. Even if I was having a bad day, as soon as I turn to 5800 Airline Drive and start going down Benson Way, it's time to put my game face on and be positive.
I saw Tim Connolly during the conference finals last year. I think Oklahoma City had beaten them really bad. And so I was like, how's it going? He's like, that's all right. Like,
never have a bad day.
That's definitely Tim Connolly to a T right there. The guy who never has a bad day.
Well, someone who did have a very bad day.
On Monday.
Yeah.
After a very good day.
Yeah. Needs to read a lot of affirmations on the Tim Connolly School of Philosophy is Spike Eskin, multi-time truth teller. Spike Eskin joining us to talk about the 76ers and Embiid. And I am curious what he thought about Jaylen Brown's comments that we were leading this segment with. So without further ado, non-Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Spike Eskin joining Pulitzer Prize winner Amin Elhassan and the rest of us.
And the Pips.
This episode is brought to you by Ferrero. Soccer's biggest stage is approaching, and Ferrero is making it easy to go all in. Pick any 2 Ferrero brands from Kinder Bueno to Ferrero Rocher, and you could win the $1 million grand prize, plus an exciting range of daily and weekly prizes. Don't miss your shot. Official rules apply. Learn more at goallinandwin.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You know those friends who support your preference for podcasts over music on road trips? That's the energy State Farm brings to insurance. With over 19,000 local agents, they help you find the coverage that fits your needs. So you can spend less time worrying about insurance and more time enjoying the ride. Download the State Farm app or go online at statefarm.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, listener, it's Zach Harper, Amin Elhassan, and Anthony Mays of Cinephobe. You may be asking yourself, what is Cinephobe? Amin, would you like to fill in the people?
Cinephobe is the podcast where Zach and I watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and try to ascertain.
We're trying to ascertain?
Yes.
Okay. Ascertain.
Whether or not they're accurately poorly rated, or maybe they didn't get a fair shake. Cinephobe, produced by this guy, Anthony Mays.
Hey, that's me. I produced this show. I also watch the movies, even though that wasn't included in the description, and I also ascertain. This month is... Wow!
Whoa.
Oh, Maze, why do you say that? Supercharge it so that this promo can remain evergreen.
I feel like explaining a little bit more.
In 60 seconds?
I don't know. Maybe I don't bring attention to it. Assuring people like, look, if you listen, you're going to get it. Just give it time.
That's a good promo. Just listen to it.
Give it time.
You'll figure it out.
Is this the promo right now?
Isn't it?
Okay, I think we got it.
Cinephobe.
Wherever you get podcasts.
Have you ever wondered why we call French fries, or why something is the greatest thing since sliced bread? There are answers to those questions. Everything Everywhere Daily is a podcast for curious people who want to learn more about the world around them. Every day, you'll learn something new about things you never knew you didn't know. Subjects include history, science, geography, mathematics, and culture. If you're a curious person and want to learn more about the world you live in, just subscribe to Everything Everywhere Daily wherever you cast your pod.
You all think I'm late. Well, I'm not late. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause, even if this room gets filled with lies like these. And the tailors and all their armies come marching into this place. Somebody will listen to me.
There's no better way to overpower a trickle of doubt than with a flood of naked truth.
But the complexity and the gray lie not in the truth, but what you do with the truth once you have it.
What is true and right is true and right for all.
You and I both know that that's just not the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Too messy. Keeps them up nights. I'm here because in the end, the truth is worth the risk.
Speak a little truth and people lose their minds.
I'm a grown man, you can tell me the truth.
Why is it people who want the truth never believe it when they hear it?
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something really outrageous. I'm going to tell the truth.
So is there, Spike, because you've been, in the media circles in Philly, New York for pretty much your whole life, right?
Yep.
Is there anyone that you were afraid to get to know just because you had an image of who they were in your brain? And then you're like, I don't want to ruin any sort of my image in both directions. Like someone you admired and you're like, I'm afraid to like ruin that image. And on the other side is someone who you just adored and just thought the world of, that you're like, I want to just keep this in a box.
No, I don't think so. I do think I've been surprised by people that I've gotten to know through it, like that I thought would be one thing and the other, but it was never like that it ruined it because I hated them and they ended up being nice, or I really loved them and I ended up hating them. There were some, I worked in music radio for 20 to 35, 15 years. There were some rock stars that were disappointing. I would say that. And then there were some rock stars that I didn't like that I met. And I was like, shit, I don't like your music very much, but you're cool. It happened more in music, in sports, and in sports radio. I've learned from people that I didn't think I would learn from. But I don't think it was that way more with music, the way that you're speaking of, than it has been with sports.
Have you met Joel Embiid?
I have. We had him on the podcast once. We actually had him on the podcast in the bubble. I chased after it for 2 years, and there was someone that worked close to him that was working on it for me and did it. And then at I think 3 of our different podcast events, I have met him. The only time that I've ever had a conversation with him was on the podcast, though. When I met him at the events, it was more just hi, thanks, how you doing? That's all that was.
Do you think this era of access and pundits online and having that fourth wall breached, do you think that helps pundits or helps people form their opinions? Or I wonder if interacting with NBA players kind of makes people less opiniony because they know there's a chance that Joel Embiid will clap back at them, or Joel Embiid will see you in a locker room and approach you and physically not attack you. But it just seems like there's in media now, with social media, it feels like a lot of these interactions are public in a way that maybe it's not good. I don't know.
I think so. I think that's a real thing that you're talking about. That used to be in the older days of sports radio. And I'll separate it from regular journalism, because regular journalism, you go to the games, you're in the locker room, whatever. That's always existed. But sports radio, I always thought, it's funny because my dad did sports radio and was always very, very connected and at the games and talking to players and talking to coaches. Whereas the morning show host, Angelo Cataldi, who was his arch rival, who I did learn a lot from, never wanted to know any of the players, never wanted to know any of the coaches, because he thought it would ruin his ability to criticize them. And I think that thing that you're talking about is real, because it used to be so much easier to avoid. When I think about it more with the podcast than I do with the radio, I guess, because for me in the radio, I think the athletes sort of expect what we do. WIP is very ingrained in the Philadelphia culture. So if we're being opinionated and loud, I'll interact with Eagles players enough, and nobody's ever seemed particularly bothered by it to me. The podcast is a little bit different because we are perceived, I think, by the players and the team to an extent as fans. And when fans are negative, I think they're more hurt by it than if a normal media member was about it. And luckily, I don't think it changes me very much, but it would be I think seeing people around me or seeing it happening, I think the idea that this player followed you on Twitter and might see one of your tweets or might see one of your clips or might comment on the Instagram thing, I think for somebody who isn't hardened to it, it could be very, very, very difficult. Even, I'm sure Mike would be fine with it. My podcast partner, Mike, doesn't deal with this a lot as much as I do. And I could tell that when we've had players on, there's a soft spot for him longer than it would be. When we had Tobias Harris on during the final year, and it's just shit, he was kind of a nice guy, even though he's making way too much money and he won't shoot enough threes. And I think that can last. And I think what you're talking about is true. I think that the big ones probably don't care. The biggest, most famous media members, I think probably just do what they have to do. But I think on a smaller level, I think it could mediate how you could talk about some of them, because you're worried they might see it. Now, that might be a good thing. Maybe you won't speak as out of pocket as you might. Maybe you won't say something irresponsible. But then also, I think it creates this other wave of people who are uber supportive in a way that is disingenuous just because those people might see it. The sort of stan version of like podcast and blog culture that are always so fucking positive all the time. And it's like, how dare you doubt Joel Embiid? And I'm like, what are you, insane?
Right.
Like, I love the guy, but how dare I doubt him? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Spike, because I would say there's a difference between the guy's a guest, so obviously you're not going to shit on him.
Be a dick to him.
Talking to him.
Yes.
But you feel like there are people who then that persists even when they're not around, even though when they're not actively hearing the criticism.
Oh, sure.
It changes analysis. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about it. I've always, I guess the separator is we separate out those clearly like fan driven accounts, right? I mean,
sure.
Clearly,
Yes.
especially if they're the type that they got credentialed.
Yes.
So now it's like they feel like I owe it.
Yes.
I owe it to keep this opportunity alive to always be positive, silver lining, whatever. But I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like maybe you're right now that I think about it. I was going to say, I kind of feel like it's the criticism and the negativity overwhelmingly leads because there's a feeling of, this is how I get noticed in a way. But I
think the criticism is generally more anonymous. Like, it's easier to be anonymously critical in the swath of random accounts on the internet. But if you are a podcast with a face and a name and you're trying to carve out something for yourself, you are probably trying to pump the brakes on being actually critical or put your name on criticism if it could get back to you.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying is true. I mean, that the negativity does lead, but also it's probably just polarized in that I think the negativity leads and the uber positivity leads. Like I picked it. I kept saying there was no way the Sixers were going to beat the Celtics, right? Over and over and over again. And the number of people which is I will go to my grave, was a completely reasonable thing to say. Like what I felt was reasonable. And the amount of reaction, and this isn't from players or anything. It's just from regular people, like, you fucker, you're not a real fan. Yeah. Imagine thinking this. So that's one part of it. But then I do think the idea that a player could see that and react to it, I think it does change some people. Again, not the biggest and best at it, because I think they are, but I think if I were like, I'm 49, right? Like my story is written at this point, but if I were coming up, if I were 29, I think I would probably be concerned about that. I live in a world where Kevin Durant could just clap back at me one day, or Joel, or whoever it is,
Spike, can you walk us through your last week of emotions? Because you like you said, you thought there was no way the Sixers would beat the Celtics. It seemed like Game 6 was when you were like, wait a second, what's happening here? Game 7, and then Game 1 with the Knicks. So let's walk through that a little bit.
Let me just try to Game 7. Maybe there's a chance, and then you saw the starting lineups. You're like, yeah, we got these fuckers.
Yeah. Well, but then, so I'm fascinated by Missoula. So I think everything Missoula does is right. So when he came out with that starting lineup, I'm like, fuck, man, Garce is going to hit 3 straight threes.
He knows something.
Yeah, Bede's not going to be able to get out on him. I've been scared of Shireman the whole time, and they're finally going to play him. So that was my initial. I think the real change was in the fourth quarter of Game 5. And Game 5, the Celtics were winning pretty handily for the first 3 quarters of that game. But the thing that you noticed was, and this is the one thing that I think the Celtics, probably if you put them on a lie detector test, they never went in for the kill. Like, they were always it seemed like they would get a 12-point lead and they felt like they could cruise, and they never turned it in. There were a lot of 12-point leads that never became 22-point leads, right? So that third quarter, they're up by 12, they're up by 13. And magically in the fourth quarter, I can take myself back to that podcast afterwards. We were so stunned because they played defense in a way that they had not played defense all year long. Like, they were doing the Nick Nurse, help, try to create turnovers thing. And then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter, Game 4, Game 5, everybody stayed home and played good, solid point of attack, man-to-man defense.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, like it looked like it short-circuited the Celtics. And I think the other thing that helped all of this was they called a couple of those push fouls on Jaylen Brown, like those offensive fouls. And he's not good enough ball handler to do it without that, I think. And I think it got in his head a little bit. And then it was after they won. Now, I had a feeling, I'm not a big gambler, but I did bet on Game 6. I bet on Game 5 and I bet on Game 6. And Game 6, I thought they were going to win. And I don't know why, but I thought they were going to win. And I said to Ike, my radio co-host, I said, I think they're going to win this fucking game. And my boss came in. He's like, you're crazy. I was like, I think they're going to win the game. And there was just something that happened. It was all defense. Offensively, they were fine. Joel was Joel, whatever. We've seen him do that before. But defensively, there was just something incredibly different. They weren't allowing offensive rebound after offensive rebound, which killed them in the Knicks series a couple of years ago, killed them in the Celtics all year long, killed them all season. And then the only time during Game 7 when I thought they would lose, and in real time, it was about 3 seconds. In my mind's time, it was about 3 years. It was when the Sixers were up 99-98, and Jaylen Brown drove to the middle of the court, and Keita wide open under the basket, but he also had Peyton Pritchard open in the corner. And he passed to Peyton Pritchard open in the corner, and I said, well, that's going in, and the crowd's going to erupt, and we're dead, and we blew the lead. I didn't think we could blow the lead, and he missed that shot. And that is the shot that we always miss. Like, not the other team. The other team hits it. So it was, this sounds like a loser, and I know I sound like a loser, but in the entirety of this era of Sixers basketball, they have not beaten a good team in a playoff series. They haven't. The best team they beat was like that Raptors team without Kawhi in 21 or 22, whatever it was. They weren't, when Embiid's face got broken by Siakam. That team was fine, but it wasn't good. They beat shitty Heat teams, shitty Nets teams, a shitty Wizards team, and we had lost to the Celtics three times in that run. And this was the 4th time. So they would have been eliminated by the Celtics 4 times in 8 playoff runs in this. So they beat not only a good team in the playoffs, but what I believe was the best team in the Eastern Conference, with Embiid coming back from an appendicitis, which we didn't expect them to come back from, down from a 3-1 deficit on their home floor. And it felt as good as I think any victory could have felt, because it was so unexpected. And it was against the team that was the bane of our existence, So I'm sorry, that's a long answer. It just made me think back to the first time that we lost to the Celtics in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving was hurt, and they hadn't gotten Gordon Hayward yet or whatever. But they had Brown and Tatum, and they beat us, but we were supposedly on our way up or whatever. And I had this 10-minute rant to Mike after the podcast that we are fucked. The Sixers are fucked. All they have are 6-7 guys. They can do everything. They have the best GM in the league. They have the best coach in the league. And I know we haven't beaten Simmons, but we are fucked. And for 7 years, I was right. We were fucked. Then we got them just once. And so it felt pretty good. And
this is a weird hypothetical, but if Embiid doesn't have appendicitis, if he's available all 7 games or in Game 1, does this go 7? Is it possible you would have beaten them even more handily than I guess coming back from 3-1?
I don't know. I have no idea. There's a part of me that also thinks the appendicitis gave Embiid 2.5 weeks off his legs.
Is this the Paul George theory?
Well, the Paul George theory is a real thing.
No, that's real. 25 games, bro.
Yeah. Trust me, I've watched. Now, Paul George still hasn't played 82 regular season games for the Sixers. So he's been here 2 years. He still has not. But having watched all of Paul George's Sixers tenure, he's never looked like this. He's never looked like he has in the playoffs. So I do think there is a possibility that the rest Embiid got, and Embiid took a shot at Pritchard here, but I do think there was some reality to it on both sides, is that Pritchard said, we haven't even really talked about Joel Embiid coming back. We're not adjusting anything. And I think the Celtics having to play one version of the Sixers for 2 or 3 games, and then because I didn't think Embiid was coming back at all. And I think that was the prevailing sentiment throughout our fan bases. Maybe if we stretch it to 6, he could come back. So I think there was something about him coming back out of nowhere. And I think it may have even helped them that they lost his first game back. And he looked, they got their asses kicked. But if you watch that game 4, where they got smoked, you can see Embiid start to figure it out in the second half, like at least offensively. The mid-range jumper started going down, and the game was over by then. So I don't know. Maybe the Sixers win in fewer games. Maybe they even lose because Embiid's like tired. I don't know.
Is this the year that they make it to the conference finals?
No, I don't think so.
Because you had them dead to rights. Going into the Boston series, and my buddy who, if Eric is listening, he listens to Rights to Ricky, and he said, what chances do you give the Sixers in this series? And I said, I would say like now that Embiid's back, this was after game 4 or whatever, game 4. Yeah. So now that Embiid's back, I think it's like pretty good shot because he changes everything. Yeah. And he goes, no, I think it's 0.1% chance that the Sixers win it. Yeah, and I get on him because I'm like, what is the point of fandom if you can't believe in your guys? Like that Embiid came back and you just have no hope. And he's like, man, I've just been watching this team for so many years.
Yes.
Yeah. And even when y'all won in game 7, I'm like, all right, so the Knicks. And he's just like, I don't think we have a chance. And I was like, so is this what it's like for Sixers fandom, that even we're so excited for Embiid and beating the Celtics, it still does not have a carryover effect?
So I think there's sometimes that being as close as we are to the team provides a perspective that is correct, that outside people don't know. And I think sometimes being as close to the team as we are sometimes skews the proper perspective that you may have that we don't have, right? So I agreed with him. I didn't think, if Embiid had been with the Sixers, I would have said there was no chance the Celtics were winning, the Sixers were winning the series from the beginning. Like there was no, God bless you for saying that there was a chance, but the Celtics were a top 5 offense and defense team all year long. The Sixers never were, not even with both guys. It like nothing. And my also point was, these guys have played like 20 games together this year. Like, what are the odds, right? So let me say, I don't think the Sixers are dead to rights against the Knicks. I think they could win the series. I don't think they will. And I think the biggest issue for me is, having watched the game, is this is every other night now. Like this is, and for the things that are weak about the Sixers, which is depth, which is Embiid's health, which is Paul George being 36, I think are exploited at this point after a 7-game series, with the series being every other day. And then you look at, not that I think the Knicks are some powerhouse, I do not, but the Sixers have one backup guard that is playable in Quentin Grimes. They have a half a backup wing in Justin Edwards. I like him, but and so you think to yourself, these guys are going to have to do the 43-minute thing again for 7 more games. And so I don't think they're dead. I think it's a tough putt for them. I really do. Maybe they'll make me wrong. It's kind of fun to be so fucking wrong after. And your friend who is a Sixers fan, man, the amount of, I don't mean to be like sad sack, like old school, like Red Sox or Cubs fan being like, they always get us. But the choke against the Celtics a few years ago, and the choke against the Heat, and the injuries that come out of nowhere, it makes you more sure that something bad will happen than something good will happen.
But it used to be, man, I remember, I grew up as a Knicks fan, but like we always had that feeling that the Knicks are going to mess up somehow. Yes. So there is a part of this time I said, as a fan, you should always believe in your team. Like, that's not the fandom I grew up on, man. Like, I grew up on like always imagining the worst was going to happen, because you always believe the bad stuff always happens to my team. A suspension, some wild thing, guys fighting in the stands, and now next thing you know, the bench is cleared out, and now everyone's suspended. Like all these things, those are always something would rear its head. And so I'm with you, Spike, in the sense that I almost feel like it's a generational thing. I don't sense from younger generations that impending sense of doom.
My dad has a rule with the Red Sox. We need 10 more runs. Like it's like, hey, Dad, we're up 7-2 in the 8th inning. He's like, we need 10 more runs, and it comes from that strain of pain.
Yes. Well, we say sometimes. So I have two co-hosts on the afternoon show, Ike Reese, who played for the Eagles, and Jack Fritz. And Jack always says that he misses the old Eagles fans. They're sure something bad is going to happen. Yeah. He was like, the ones that have seen the Super Bowl, most specifically the Nick Foles Super Bowl, like all of a sudden, we're just never that mad anymore. And they always think it'll work out. Like they're always like, Howie Roseman's got it. He'll figure it out. Yeah. And I'm like, no. You're supposed to think these guys are idiots. Like they're always wrong. Trust me, they're wrong. So I think the older fans that have been through like loss after loss after loss after loss probably handle it differently. I do feel doom.
I am your host, Stassi Schroeder. Welcome to Tell Me Lies, the official podcast. What's the most unhinged thing of season 3?
Steven, because he's so evil.
I do think he is misunderstood.
You see everyone face consequences. It's intoxicating.
The writers just know how to trick you.
There's always a twist in this show. It's nothing you would expect.
Tell Me Lies, the official podcast, now streaming, and stream the new season of Tell Me Lies on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
I want to go back to this Paul George suspension because it might be the greatest drug test in the history of sports. Not only because, it freshened him up for this playoff run, but also the financial implications. Yes. That suspension put them in a place where they could completely avoid the tax. Yep. Like I'm thinking to myself, like, man, like, could we run this back?
Did Daryl Morey taint the drink? Like, did he?
Like,
did he slip
the thing in there? Slip the Mickey.
Because what would have had to happen if that didn't happen is they would have had to get rid of Grimes, Oubre, or Drummond plus, right? And like, Oubre is. Now, I was really pessimistic about Oubre when he got here, but I love him, and he's a necessary part of the Sixers.
He's grown up.
Yeah, he's like a dirty work guy, and he was a get mine guy when he got here. He's a dirty work guy now. Nobody draws more offensive fouls than Oubre. Like he plays under control. He's not like he still is what he is, but they wouldn't have beaten the Celtics without Oubre, and they probably wouldn't have beat the Celtics even without Grimes. They wouldn't have had a backup guard, I think that suspension from a financial perspective. Now we can revisit the Jared McCain thing, which I've been angry about for a while, but I don't think McCain makes a material difference in their playoff things this year, And
I mean, look, there's a lot. First of all, Oubre, yeah, absolutely. This is a guy that bounced around because his concept of who he was incongruent with who he actually was, right? Yeah. So the famous story in Golden State is when I can't remember who's coming back from injury. It might have been Klay Thompson is coming back, and they're talking about, okay, so Klay's going to start, Oubre, you're going to come off the bench, and Kelly Oubre kind of like scoffs. Or maybe it wasn't Klay, because I think Klay was the one who got in his face, like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
These are champions in this locker room. Who the fuck are you to like scoff or whatever? And so, and this is a guy again walking into a locker room where they'd won 4 titles. Yes. But he's still in his brain. I was like, no, I'm still here. So when he got to Philly, I think he definitely had that, but he's grown up. He's finally figured out like, oh, this is who I need to be. Doesn't make him a smarter player. Like he's still gonna have silly plays, but I think accepting that my role is to do this is paramount. I always say the number one question that every player and every team needs to answer correctly and truthfully is, who am I? Yes. Because if you answer it right, it opens up everything. And if you answer it wrong, you're always going to have this weird kind of fog around your role and your effectiveness for your team. The Quentin Grimes one is funny.
It's Bazemore. Ken Bazemore.
That Bazemore got in his face.
Well, he was starting over Oubre, and I'm just looking at the game logs. Bazemore starting, Oubre off the bench. I'm assuming that that's the guy who he was like, come on.
Yeah.
Dude, and Oubre, I think what you say is true about knowing who I am as a team. I think that is people want to have a purpose and be able to like know what their role is so they can accomplish it so they did a good job, right? Like as long as you give Oubre a clear lane of what he is, at least he can go and set about accomplishing that. We did a road trip to New Orleans this year, and the Sixers got fucking obliterated, got smoked. And Oubre came out to say hi to everybody on the trip afterwards, like 200 people. He went to like each person and apologized for how they played that night and said that they deserved better. And like, I just thought it was such I wouldn't have, I don't know what to expect of him, but the growing up thing, I didn't know him before, but I can only tell you what I heard of him before, and what he is now is just a completely different thing. He's great, man. I love him.
Grimes is an interesting thing because Grimes, his acquisition last year, right? They ditched Caleb Martin to Dallas, and they get Quentin Grimes, and he's going to be a restricted free agent. And it's kind of like, he's a restricted free agent coming to a situation where he could play any way he wanted to because everybody was hurt.
Yeah, and
so he has this big season last year, and it's like, well, now what do you do? And then you had the whole summer, and then what was the third one I was thinking about? Oh yeah, we talked about McCain. I got what Daryl Morey was saying. Was just like, I could get a first round pick for this guy.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like that's at what part of this is he's like he's a good player, but it's like this is value. He's selling high, basically. He sold high at a time. You think he sold low? Do you think Jared McCain will ever go for more than a first round pick?
Okay, are you asking me or are you asking Tom?
Well, I was going to say, isn't he just trying to not answer truthfully and say I had to duck the tax and so I had to get...
No, I don't think, I genuinely believe neither he nor Nick Nurse believe very highly in Jared McCain. That is a true belief. And there are other ways they could have ducked the tax than trading Jared McCain. I think it was convenient that they were able to get a first round pick for Jared McCain to duck the tax. But so we had Daryl on the podcast after last season, and we asked him about the next season, about the starting backcourt. And he mentioned Grimes, and this was before we had Edgecombe. He mentioned Grimes and Maxey. And we had to ask him about Jared McCain before he brought up Jared McCain. We had to ask him about Jared McCain. So like that was a moment, and we continue to bring up that moment. And I don't know this for a fact. I don't know that Nick Nurse was ever a huge fan. And so I think he believes that the value of the pick is higher than the value of Jared McCain, which is fine. But I saw Jared McCain with my own eyes play basketball. And there's a difference between putting up numbers for a bad team and what I saw with my eyes. Now, maybe he'll never reclaim that, and maybe it was like some magic Jeremy Lin thing or something. But all I know is what I saw on the court, I wouldn't have traded for the 22nd pick in the draft.
I want to ask you about this real quick. I mean, because the news just broke that Jaylen Brown got fined $50,000. So he was fined $35,000, I think, earlier this season for calling out the refereeing and the officiating, and he just got fined for public criticism of the officiating. It was announced by James Jones. Brown made his comments on a live stream on May 3rd following the Celtics 109-100 loss to the 76ers after Game 7. What are your thoughts about Jaylen Brown and what he said in the live stream? And you, as a Sixers fan, writes to Ricky, Philly guy, what is the conversation around Jaylen Brown in Philadelphia?
Oh, just like sour grapes. I mean, I think I actually saw the stream. I can just speak for me. We haven't talked very much about Jaylen Brown because this is just a news cycle thing. They play the game Saturday night. He did the thing on Sunday. we were back on the air on Monday talking about the Knicks. So the Jaylen Brown thing went away. So it was pretty much just like bad luck. If we had 5 days in between, we could have done a nice couple of days.
Isn't that so crazy? It's so crazy how the media cycle.
He just sounds like such a lunatic. Like he sounds a little crazy to me. Like that the refs have an agenda against him. Like it is real like psychosis that like real paranoia out to get me type stuff to think that the refs would get together and be like, you know who we should screw? Jaylen Brown.
Spike, not just that they would get together, but they would also tell him that we got together.
Other refs told me. Yeah.
That's just insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. It is the most kind of sore loser mentality. And it's a shame because I really like him as a player. But like he just he said also that they're out to get me because I criticized them back in January. And I'm like, yeah, you were the only guy this year who got fined for criticizing officials. It's amazing. Everybody else was cool, but you were the one that was brave enough to take that stance.
Yeah. Like a sport where the players openly criticize the referees on the court consistently. And then in press conferences afterwards, they've just targeted Jaylen Brown, of all people. He should learn how to dribble.
I want to. Yeah, that might help.
And shut up, baby.
Yeah. Shut up and dribble, baby. Yeah.
I'm curious, Spike, because of, obviously the Celtics lost that Game 7. The way they have lost several elimination games now under Joe Mazzulla, which is this dogmatic belief in just keep shooting the threes. Yeah. That's the best shot. And when asked about it afterward, Joe Mazzulla says same thing always. Like, no, I like the shots that we got. We just got to execute. And it's just like no part of it acknowledging like, look, hey, there's other ways to skin a cat. And now people rightly or wrongly affiliate and associate that strategy with analytics and math. Yeah. And given that Daryl is actually the analytics / math strategy guy in the league, how would you believe Daryl looks at the way the Celtics play?
I bet Daryl would buy into it. I bet Daryl. Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but Daryl, I think he would buy into it. To be quite honest with you, and maybe it's because I have been Mazzulla brained, when it goes wrong, to me, when I'm watching it, it's because the players aren't doing the thing that he wants them to do. Like when we were watching that series, I said the shots I always liked best were when Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum decided to like cook. Like, oh, go ahead, ISO, shoot some fucking fadeaway, please. Instead of just driving and kicking and driving and kicking and driving and kicking until somebody's open, because it'll happen. We can't guard it. I promise we can't guard it. So all I was thinking was I was more scared when there was only one of them out there, because when both of them were out there, they would take turns doing that stuff.
Right.
I bet Daryl would buy into it. Daryl has always been like, well, we actually did have a 17% chance of winning the championship that year, even though we lost in the first round. And he seems frustratingly committed to it, even for a guy who I respect a great deal and like a great deal. Seems like that part of it he is still locked in on. Why? What do you think?
I feel like, this is what I always go back to. If you want to go by analytics and expected value, the number one shot is a dunk or a layup. Mm-hmm. The number two shot is a free throw. Mm-hmm. The number three shot is a corner three.
Yep.
Then above the break threes, then mid-range and floaters and everything else, right? So to me, what the Celtics do, obviously I'm not advocating to watch Jason Tatum try to live out his Kobe Bryant fantasies. But it's like, I see it. Like, hey, you've got lane, Peyton Pritchard. Like, yes, you're open, but it's also like there's no one in front of you. Just drive. Just lay it up. And it's like, no, I'm going to shoot this one. And I think about, because it is such a feast or famine thing, right? Because if you're a great three-point shooting team, you're making 4 out of 10 shots, right? That at some point, no matter how much you have a philosophy of, hey, we're just going to keep shooting, the misses begin to erode at the confidence of your players.
Yeah, sure.
And so there was a play I remember where they shot the three, and there was a long rebound, and it came out to Hauser, and the guy who was chasing the rebound actually ran past him. So Hauser's wide open at the top for a three. And that's the shot where I'm like, actually, yeah, shoot that one. And he hesitated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the only reason Sam Hauser, who's only in this league for shooting threes, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that would make him hesitate is the brief thought, fuck, we've missed like 17 of these in a row.
Yeah.
Should I do something different? And I was like, wait a second, I'm Sam Hauser. I don't do anything different. This is what I do. And so he hesitates. And then it's kind of like almost like it's not a pump fake. It's just like a little hesitation. And Reggie Miller and Jamal Crawford called him out on it. And then he takes a shot and he misses it. But it's like, if he is not burdened with the weight of, fuck, we've missed 1 million shots in a row, I think he shoots that and I think he makes it because he's got all the confidence in the world.
So, and that is probably like just observing Missoula. He probably doesn't understand that emotion, I would guess, or he has trouble putting his head in the player's head and understanding how that feels. It does remind me a little bit of baseball, obviously the most analytic sport in the world, where it is all become home runs and strikeouts. The problem is when you get to the playoffs, it works over a big sample size, but over a smaller sample size, it doesn't work quite as well, and you can have longer droughts and home runs do dry up in the playoffs, and you have to be able to create runs otherwise, which probably explains why Missoula's teams have had trouble at those spots. But I still think he's fascinating, and I would still like to have him as my coach. So, no offense,
Spike, how did you feel seeing Sam Hinkie rise from the ashes to tweet the Charles S. Dutton?
Yeah,
GIF?
how do we wait to this point?
Yeah. It was so great.
About coverage.
It was the best. It was the best one he could have tweeted, right? Because the last sports one I remember him tweeting was when the Astros won the World Series, and he tweeted out the Sports Illustrated cover of them, like, you know, doing Moneyball, and I think it was like, "I love it when a plan comes together," and that was a very Hinkie one. And this one was, man, he was on the podcast one time. Probably the first off season, he was there for like 25 minutes on his way to the airport. He was going overseas to scout someone. Never came on again. I've asked countless times, hasn't done it. And you always wonder if somewhere he is like still engaged and watching.
He's watching, yeah.
And he was. And it was like, that, like, Dad still loves us, even though he left us, you know, years ago. And he never sends birthday presents, never calls to check in. But man, he showed up at our college graduation, had a tear running down his eye, and then we never saw him again. So it was nice, man. It made me feel good. You know, we missed him.
I think of him kind of as like Charles S. Dutton and Rudy, this groundskeeper. Like, you used to be so and so. Like, now he's just some janitor who's like, oh wow, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, it was perfect. It was pretty perfect.
The culmination of the process.
Yeah. It's that first round win over the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I thought was funny about it. It's like, is this what this was all about the whole time?
Yes, it was. If that's all that happens, like, we will in 3 weeks, we'll be pissed off when the next series ends, but we will look back on it in 3 weeks and be like, man, we fucking stuck it to the Celtics. It was good.
Is it uncool to say that though? Like, is it uncool to be like, yeah, we got our asses beat in the conference semifinals again, but we had that Celtics series.
Beat the Celtics, man.
Dude, we are the least cool group of, we're happy that Sam Hinkie tweeted a GIF about us. Like, we raised a banner for him, you know, like this whole 13 years of like podcast and Sixers basketball has been like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a model of stupidity and patheticness. Like, when we did this thing years ago, like retweet Armageddon. We had always said that, like, when we were proven right, we will retweet all the bad takes, right? And we did it, and it trended worldwide. And it was when we made the trade for Markelle Fultz as the pick that would become Markelle Fultz. Like I am promising you, this is far from the least bad we've looked over the last 13 years. I'm not worried about it anymore. You know, I'm not worried.
Retweet Armageddon.
Yeah.
The parade of gas bags equivalent is what you guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be great. Well, we'll see what happens with the rest of the series, but at least we have Boston. We have the Sam Hinkie tweet, and you will always have that.
We will always have it. We'll always have it. If that's all we get out of this, if we get this and an Embiid MVP, should have been 2 of them. If we get this and an Embiid MVP, like I think we could be plenty happy with it.
All right, Spike. Appreciate you coming on with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Anything you want to plug on your way out here?
Podcast, Rice, Ricky Sanchez, afternoon show, WIP afternoon show in Philly. That's it.
Awesome.
Appreciate you having me.
All right. Thanks for keeping your third eye open, man.
The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 5-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 50% off with minimum purchase, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
When Mother's Day means celebrating your mom, your wife, maybe even your daughter as a new mom, trust 1-800-Flowers to help you celebrate every important woman in your life. With double blooms from 1-800-Flowers, order 1 dozen roses and get another dozen for free. It's a simple way to give beautifully, with colorful blooms that make Mother's Day feel meaningful. For every mom you're celebrating, order with confidence and get double blooms at 1-800-Flowers.com/Spotify. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/Spotify.
Hey, Mama. Thanks for making all my favorite recipes.
Hi, Ma. Thanks for your unfiltered advice.
Hi, Mom. Thanks for always being by the phone.
Hey, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
When you ship UPS Air at the UPS Store, your items arrive on time or your money back. Guaranteed at no extra cost. Exclusively at the UPS Store U.S. retail locations. Visit the upsstore.com/airshipping for full details. Terms and conditions apply. Send your Mother's Day gifts at the UPS Store and we'll get your gratitude there on time.